good beginning. Alright? And would like to encourage more of you to volunteer to do this. It's a great opportunity which should not be missed. Right? So please contact Mr. British Abraham at the earliest. It will be granted on a first come, first served basis. Well, I thought, the Malayalam Literary Society could have shown a better film. It concealed the fact that the most important tourist attraction in Kerala is in Trivandrum. In a corner of Trivandrum called Perurkada. And why it is so, you have to find out. It will take a lot of historical research. And if you've got the answer, then we will discuss it further. Now we come back to the question of purity. Well, I gave 3 illustrations of the application of purity or the foundational value of purity. I don't want to be exhaustive in that. It was only demonstrative or illustrative, and you can continue that avenue of thought further. Today I want to spend some time looking at the expressions of purity. Yesterday it was the avenues or frontiers of purity. Today, what are the expressions of purity? This is of immense practical importance. And I hope you pay attention and you treasure these things and benefit from it. First expression of purity is passion. Passion in the sense of enthusiasm. Great excitement. Now the opposite of this is indifference. Now, any kind of enthusiasm or any passion does not express purity. Passion for doing what is right. You can develop great zeal or enthusiasm for doing what is wrong, unjust, unfair. That doesn't indicate purity. It actually indicates the opposite. The Irish poet William Butler Yeats said in a poem called Second Coming, commenting on actually the spirit of our times, he says, the good lack all conviction and the evil are full of passionate intensity. Right? The evil are full of passionate intensity. If you look at the world around us, you will know that an overwhelming majority of people are simply indifferent. They are passive. A very small minority of people are passionate and intense in their pursuit of evil. And they create the impression that the whole world is rotten, the system is rotten, our society is diabolic. These people are actually only a handful. And since you are exposed to them mainly through the media, you come to the conclusion that we're living in a rotten world. That's not the case. The problem is that the majority of the people who are not rotten, in the active sense of the term, are infected by rottenness like a virus, as a result of which they lose their passionate intensity for what is right and just, which they know. Nobody is ignorant. Ignorance is not the problem. Everybody knows. The extent of knowledge, the degree of information may vary. But whether this is right or wrong, whether it is diabolic or whether this is humane, everybody knows. In the last several years, I've had extensive interactions with the men and women from the media world. After all the interactions are over, everyone has told me the same thing. What do they say? Sir, we know the truth, but we have to do our work. So, in order to do the work assigned to us, we have to believe that falsehood is the truth. So, nobody is ignorant, everybody knows. What is lacking is this passion for what is true, what is right, what is humane. And the question arises as to how this happens. How did we lose our capacity for this intense passion for what is right? It's because we have allowed, either actively or passively, our purity to be compromised. We are living at a time when there is a kind of unstated assumption that believing in one's personal purity is very outdated. It's very antiquated. It's not very fashionable. But I want you to know the cost, the loss, the damage, the paralysis in compromising one's purity. If you lose your passion, your enthusiasm, your excitement, you're no better than a living corpse. Nothing in history has been achieved without immense passion. And that passion for what is good, what is life-friendly, what enriches the world around us, expresses in terms of the willingness to take any amount of pain, suffering, loss, and incur any risk in order to achieve that goal. Now suppose I embrace a noble goal. Alright? I want to bring about a change for the better in my society. Now anybody can actually put on that garb, that appearance. Everybody can pretend to be the savior of the world, the benefactor of humanity. But a time will come when the pretender will be exposed and the genuine person will be left in the field. And that time is a time of hardships. If you are pure, you will have the inner strength to endure the testing time. If you are impure, at the earliest opportunity, you will flee from there. And then you will start something new. So you will come across many people who make beginnings and beginnings and beginnings and reach nowhere. In life, if you want to make a substantial, meaningful contribution, you must passionately believe in the relevance of that contribution. You must purify yourself of any selfish interests. And you must realistically understand that nothing worthwhile can be achieved in this world without facing difficulties. Unfortunately, there is this rather uninformed understanding that when difficulties come upon a person, it is the proof that he is rotten. For example, it is repeatedly said, the principal of St. Stephen's College is mired in controversies. Now that is the proof that he is rotten. Now from where have you got this logic? The principle may be rotten, I am not debating that. But I am debating your assumption that the proof of a person's rottenness or a person's undesirability is controversy, or the fact that he gets into trouble. Which servant of humanity has not got into trouble? Ask yourself. So, what enables you to endure what Martin Heidegger calls the dark night of the soul is your purity. He says, between the departing gods who say never again, and the gods who are yet to come who say not yet, we are located in the dark night of the soul. It's a time of suffering. It's a time of testing. privation. How will you endure the dark night of the soul? Because if you don't endure that night, you will never see the morning. So people begin something new, something good, and when they run into difficulties, they run away. Alright? What is the problem? The problem is not dearth of ideas, the problem is lack of purity. So the first thing we have to understand is the authentic expression of purity is passion. Only the passionate achieve something. Others run from one issue to the other, one program to another, and get lost. They will be drowned in the ocean of the multitude of programs, the initiative, and reach nowhere. This happens to too many people. That's why I'm sharing these thoughts with you. My thoughts are all derived from actual day-to-day experience. I'm not dishing out some bookish theory, as Shakespeare says. Right? The second expression of purity, and I have only 5 minutes left, is unity. I want you to understand this. If you remember the illustration I introduced about 4 or 5 assemblies ago, that the cup of tea, you remember? You buy the most expensive Darjeeling tea or whatever, Assam tea, and it's fragrant, and you offer it and something falls into it. Suddenly, you are alienated from that tea and your guest is alienated. The guest will be offended if you, in spite of the insect that's in it, you still insist on offering to him or her. Now, disunity has come into being upon the instant. Till the time the insect fell into the cup of tea you made, you and that cup of tea were one. It was an expression of your heart. Because you made the best tea possible. The finest of flavor, the most delicate balance. You did it with imagination and involvement. But the moment its purity was compromised, disunity invaded the space between you and the cup of tea. Disunity also invaded the space between the cup of tea and your cherished friend. All round disunity. Alright? Now, for example, what is the academic application of this unity? Now, you take a book, right? And you begin with determination. I am going to study this chapter today, and I will not rest until I have mastered it. Alright? Good intention? Wonderful. 10 minutes, 15 minutes into your reading, well, you say to yourself, maybe I will read some other book. Right? ऐसा होता है? ऐसा भी होता है. Huh? Why does it happen like that? Because you have allowed something to come in between. Your relationship with that book is not pure. Don't understand purity only in the religious sense. I've been saying this to you from the very beginning. Unfortunately, all these key concepts have been distorted because of their association with religion. I'm not a merchant of religion. I'm a thinker. There is a relationship between you and the book that you hold. And that relationship must be pure. And if it is pure, your concentration will take care of itself, your mind will not waver. And you will not say, well, I will read, and I will come back to this book tomorrow. Let me read something else now. Then you take some other book, and in 5 minutes the same thing happens. As a result, you've changed 20 books, but you've read nothing. This happens. Why are we not able to bridle, to control our mind? Because we have compromised our purity. And perhaps you don't understand this in terms of unity. It's actually unity. Studying is being one with the topic, the text, the thought. That's what studying is. Being one with the topic. That's what studying means. And if you allow anything else to interpose itself between you and what you study, how do you study in the world? So please understand that learning is an experience, an exercise in purity. We understood it in our culture, and that's the reason why we have this puja, right? What's that puja called? Huh? Saraswati Puja. But does anyone understand what it is? We practice it without knowing ABCD of it. Saraswati Puja means that we recognize learning to be divine, learning to be sacred. You understand? Now that is completely gone, and we are only looking forward to a holiday, an off day. Right? So please understand that these are very profound principles in life. So the second expression of, first was passion, second was purity. Is that clear? Now the third expression of purity will be explained tomorrow. Because I said I'll end exactly at 9:30. Did I say that? And what's the time? 9 o'clock. Now once again I urge all of you to volunteer to address the assembly. Let's turn the assembly into a nursery of our growth and empowerment. I do not want you to remain passive because it's a disservice to yourself. Use these opportunities, grow through the assembly. Okay? Life can be beautiful and you will be prepared for life if you take the assembly seriously, which you do, which is greatly appreciated. Maybe rise for prayer.